believers, Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya as-salah, hayya as-salah, hayya al-falah, hayya al-falah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nukilu bihi azza wa jal. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan rasul. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in mubad. Ayyuhal muslimun. That is, with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Praise be to Allah, the guardian, evolver, cherisher, keeper, sustainer of all the worlds, of all the systems of knowledge. We render all praises to Him, and we seek His help, and we ask for His forgiveness. We put our faith and trust in Him. Mighty and sublime is He. I bear witness and give open testimony that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah and Allah alone, the one and only. There is none like unto Him. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Allah's servant, messenger prophet, and guide to all of humanity for all time. We ask Allah's peace, His blessings, His highest exaltations be upon Prophet Muhammad, upon his family, his companions, the righteous, all on us, O Muslims, be peace. Dear beloved Muslims, dear believers, I greet you with the best greeting of Assalamu alaikum. Mubarak. In what follows of this excellent salutation to our Prophet Muhammad, the prayers and the peace be on him. My talk for today's Jummah Khutbah, or lecture, is the spirit of your growth and development. Or if you prefer, this is part 2 of a khutbah that immediately preceded this one that was entitled Aiming for the Stars. Both of them were intended to lift us up and inspire us to reestablish ourselves with Allah's help, to show us and the world how good Allah has been to us. And not just as individuals, but as a group, as a ummah. Individually, we all have our successes, but it is the group success that the world sees. How we have been inspired to do great things, to leave a legacy for our children and families, and all those who come behind us, those who come in contact with us. We want to be Muslim proud. We want to be Muslim strong. We want to be Al-Islam proud, Al-Islam strong. And here at New Africa, we want to be New Africa proud and New Africa strong. So this talk today, inshallah, is entitled The Spirit of Your Growth and Development. Because I think it's a long way. That is, this talk is going to be about you, the spirit and the growth and development in you. And then, if not, then at the very least, I'll call on Allah and His angels to bear witness that this is about the spirit of growth and development in all of us. Maybe just in me, I don't know, we'll see. Perhaps we can learn by example. So as the Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, go out and tell those who weren't here, perhaps they will benefit better from it. But none but God has made us Muslims. The question is, how do we show our gratitude for the things He's allowed us to see and accomplish? I pray Allah continue to bless us as we say, "O my Lord, let not my entry be by the gate of truth and honor, and likewise my exit by the gate of truth and honor, and grant me from your presence an authority to aid me." Ameen. I'm going to begin the spirit of your growth and development by reading a few ayats from Quran, followed by some brief commentary, along with a couple of hadiths from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But I'd like to set this up for us by first reading a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to put this first of several ayats from Surah Al-Isra, or the night journey, into context. And as I'm reading it, fortunately, the hadith segues right into the ayats. So I'm asking you to sort of kind of bear with me. I know this is a slight departure, from any of my, previous talks, because I have a certain formula that I follow that doesn't require me to read a hadith first, but in this instance, I'm making a slight deviation. Pray Allah you can follow along. This was narrated by Ugdah. While I was going with the Prophet through the ruins of Medina, and he was reclining on a date palm leaf stalk, some Jews passed by. Some of them said to the others, "Ask him about the Spirit." Some of them said that they should not ask him that question, as he might give a reply which would displease them. But some of them insisted on asking, and so one of them stood up and asked, "O Abu al-Qasim," which is one of the names for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "what is the Spirit?" The Prophet remained quiet. I thought he was being inspired divinely. So I stayed till that state of the Prophet was over. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, "And they ask you, O Muhammad, questions concerning the Spirit. Tell them, the Spirit is of the commands of my Lord, and the knowledge you are given is but very little. If we want, we can definitely take away all that which we have revealed to you, then you will find none to help you in getting it back from us. But your Lord has blessed you with this knowledge. Surely his blessings upon you have been great indeed." And Allah continues in that same surah, few ayats later, that's Surah Al-Isra. He says, "One day we shall call together all human beings with their respective imams. Those who are given their record in their right hand will read it with pleasure, and they will not be dealt with unjustly in the least. But those who were blind in this world will be blind in the after, and most astray from the path. And their purpose was to tempt you away from that which we had revealed to you, to substitute in our name something quite different. Behold, they would certainly have made you their friend, and had we not given you strength, you would nearly have inclined towards them just a little. In that case, we should have made you taste an equal portion of punishment in this life and an equal portion in death. And moreover, you would have found none to help you against us. Their purpose was to scare you off the land in order to expel you. But in that case, they would not have stayed after you except for a little while. This was our way with the messengers we sent before you. You will find no change in our ways. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. It is Allah the Mightiest speaks the truth. So here's what this is saying to us. And I want to look at this in the context of this talk of the spirit of your growth and development. First, you don't have to be blind to be in the dark. What you don't see and experience in this world, you won't see or experience in the after. In his commentary from the Holy Quran, Yusuf Ali translation, he notes those in darkness will find that the longer the time they have traveled, the farther away they have gone from the path. And I say it's time for you and I to come back home, to step back into the light of Quran and follow the ways of the messengers. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For Allah does say, one day we shall call together all human beings with their respective imams. So the question is, who's your imam? Who is your leader? Who do you follow? And more importantly, where are they leading you to? Where you going? Because if you ain't going nowhere, perhaps you need a new leader. I know who my leader is. I've expressed that more than once, and for anyone who is not here, is this man sitting right here on the floor. Imam Sultan Muhammad Abdullah. In all things spiritual, I follow his leadership. That's a heavy burden. That's a heavy burden on him. It's light on me. Because whatever he do, I do. Because I'm following a leader. And I'll easily be able to express myself to Allah and his angels. They'll be able to bear witness that I followed what he did. So when I give a talk, my talks are like his talk. When I give my opening is just like his. When I need consultation, I go to him. I don't come to any of you. Leader, follow. I mean, it's that simple. So, I see where I'm going. And in those respects that I just mentioned, my leader has helped me to arrive. I'm already there, ready, willing, and able to accept the task in front of me, inshallah, for the pleasure of God. That should be our mantra. I'm sorry, I said inshallah, I meant fisabilillah. My glasses are not functioning properly. My eyes are okay, but the glasses fail me. But it's fisabilillah, for the pleasure of God. And that should be our mantra. For Allah says, we will not be dealt with unjustly in the least. And the word that's used in Quran that Yusuf Ali has translated for least is fatil. Now, I didn't know what fatil was. But when I tell you, you're going to say, oh yeah, I've seen that. A fatil, during the month of Ramadan, when we have dates, particularly those dates with seeds in them. When you take that seed out, you see that little tail that's on the end of the seed? It's almost, it's kind of whitish color, you know, but you might not even have paid it any attention. But when Ramadan comes around and you get a date with a seed in it, once you take that seed out, look at the end of it. It's a real, and for those of you who can't even remember it, that's how insignificant it is. You can't even remember what it looks like. You're going to have to go get a date and suck on it to get the seed out and say, oh yeah, I ain't never really paid that no attention. So when he uses the word fatil, that you will not be, what did it say? We will not be dealt with unjustly in the least. It doesn't get any more insignificant than that little thing that's at the end of the date. You can't even remember it. I just happen to remember because I eat a lot of dates. But never paid any attention to it. And never put it into the context of how Allah is going to judge us. And there are other parts in Quran where he uses things as small as a mustard seed. Well, go look at a mustard seed so you can see how small it is. There's no sense in Allah putting stuff in Quran if we're not going to go back and try to figure out, well, what is he saying? Because mustard seed is not part of our daily diet. So you don't even know what it is. And you don't have to go buy the mustard seed. Just go into the next time you're in the store, just go to the little spice section and see how small those seeds are. And then you'll be able to kind of get a context when Allah says, even when that mustard seed is hidden up under a rock, he's going to bring it out. I'm not saying this is what God says. I couldn't think that clear to tell you something like that. But once I hear it, and once I understand it, and once I'm able to put it into the proper context, I can break it down for you to the nth degree. And then you'll be saying, wow, where you get that from? I pay attention. I've been told, you've been told, to look out on the creation. What do you think God means when he tells you to look out on the creation? He wants you to see what it is that he wants you to see. And he's only going to allow you to see what he wants you to see. You're not going to see anymore. So I thought I was having an epiphany when I saw a group of birds making voodoo. I know that's what they were doing. You can't tell me nothing different. Flapping around in the dirt, trying to clean themselves off. You've seen it, you just ain't paying no attention to it. It didn't faze you. And I no longer get sad when it rains. Why? Because my religion tells me when it's raining, God is cleansing me of my sins. You and me, the whole world. I'm coming here today, and I'm trying to be as patient as I can with all the traffic and everything. And I was purposely exercising that patience. And I'm glad I did. Because as I was able to peel off and then gain a little bit more speed, I found myself just prior to that, behind a funeral procession. Because I wondered why I saw these people going, and when I got to the light, I stopped, but there were 2-3 cars that just went on, and it didn't dawn on me. You know, I just thought everybody was in a hurry like I was, trying to get the Juma. But then, as I was peeling off to finish coming through the park, they stayed straight, which told me they were going over to Memorial Bridge, over to Arlington Cemetery to bury a veteran. And so now I'm thankful. And I said, I showed some gratitude to Allah by thanking him for having me to recognize that and know how to conduct myself whenever I find myself at a funeral or in a funeral procession. Prophet Muhammad told you, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We got that instruction. You don't know if the dead is a Jew, a Christian, or a Muslim. You don't have the least idea. Could be the devil himself. But what you do know is that person, whoever it is on their way to meet their Lord. They're one step ahead of you. Because you next. Don't know when it's going to be, but you're going to be next. And one day, somebody's going to be just like I was, riding behind my procession, and I pray that Allah stops them from blowing the horn or doing something silly, and just have respect for the deed. Also, this is the last point, also for your spirit to grow and develop, there can't be any compromise. There's no such thing in Al-Islam as political correctness. I can't find it anyway. We're told, as Muslims, from the Quran, to speak a word directly to the right. Be clear, don't be ambiguous. Like, what is he trying to say? I don't understand. And maybe you may have to break your language down because the person you're speaking to English may be their second language. And they don't quite understand some of the nuances, so you may have to repeat yourself in a different way. But you should always speak a word to the right. But Allah clearly says in the ayat that I just read, and their purpose was to tempt you away from that which we have revealed to you, to substitute in our name something quite different. Behold, they would certainly have made you their friend, and had we not given you strength, you would nearly have inclined towards them just a little. So here's where we're instructed not to compromise, not and try and be friends with the hypocrites. They only intend ill will for you and I. What you may view as a small concession on your job, deciding to participate in some holiday cheer. They look at you as if you are now beginning to submit to their spiritual holidays. In other words, they don't see anything wrong with you having a little eggnog and standing up under the mistletoe. Ooh, there's Abdullah. He's standing under the mistletoe. You're standing under. No, you ain't got no business even being in there. For what? When you celebrate your Eid, where are they? When it's Ramadan, do they fast with you? So, who's making the concession here? Why is it that you feel as though you're always the one that have to make concessions, like you want to be all right with everybody? I mean, hell, you might as well go on back out on the street and find where you can fit in out there. Just giving up a little concession and then try to tell me, well, you practice and do what? You telling them something about, no, you're not. You involved in the same nonsense that you was involved with before. You ain't nothing but a hoodlum Muslim. That's all. And you hear him and you see him every time you out there. And they may see you walking down the street with your kufi and Assalamu alaikum. And you turn around because it don't even sound like the greeting. When have I ever given you a greeting with such harshness? Assalamu alaikum. No, that's not Allah tells you that. Because then when I give him the greeting back, I gotta say Assalamu alaikum. I gotta give him the same greeting because that's what Allah says to do, to give him an equal or a better greeting. So if you come at me harsh with a greeting, I can't come back to you soft as milk. which is how you should have addressed me in the first place. But you on hoodlum time. And not only are you on hoodlum time in the street, what happens is you think, and I've had this experience, this I know I can tell you this. I had to step away from everything that I was doing with the national gang piece. I thought I was being of a benefit to some of these young gangsters. But what I found was, in order to step into their world, it was hard for me to step out of it once I got home. I couldn't turn it on and turn it off. It wasn't easy. So I quit. I quit. Fisabilillah, because I could see where it was going. And it wasn't going to be of any benefit to me or to them, because eventually they'd have got me. They'd have got me. Why I know? Because they got me the first time. I'd already been got. I wasn't raised on the street. I came up with 2 middle-class parents that stayed married for years, didn't drink, didn't smoke. And when I say didn't drink, didn't smoke, the only liquor that I ever remember having in my house was when my mother decided she wanted to make fruit cakes. Wasn't no people coming over my house socializing with my parents for no drinks. They ain't have none. So all of this that I'm telling you, these are the things that are going to help your spirit to grow and develop. When you lay those things aside, get that stuff out of your life, because it's blocking. You can't be in 2 worlds. You can't be in Al-Islam and then try to be in another world with everybody else. It don't work that way. That's why we have a ummah. You should have more Muslim names in your Rolodex than you do those, and I'm speaking now personally. You should have more Muslim names in your Rolodex than you do other people, not including your family. You ain't responsible for that. You can't be responsible. That's the one dua Allah will not answer. So don't even worry about that. Okay, you didn't pick and choose them, they ain't pick and choose you. And if you both had your way, you'd have had somebody else. But that's not how this works. The problem is that these seemingly small things can open up the door to all manner of atrocities and calamities for you, big and small. And you won't know where it's coming from. And the hypocrites won't hesitate to call you their friend. At the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves the question, how does compromise or even a small concession help the growth and development of our spirit? It doesn't. It eats away at it. You keep putting a wishbone where you need a backbone. Let's go back to the Quran. And I want you to listen closely to this, because Allah is giving you and I a formula here for your success in developing the spirit of your growth and development. This is the same sort, Al-Isra, or the night journey. It goes on to say, and this is the first part of the formula, establish regular prayers at the sun's decline until the darkness of the night. Then Allah tells us to mix that with the morning prayer, and reading in the morning carry their own testimony. Now that's a simple formula. To break it down for you, you just need to be making your salats. And they tell you especially to establish regular prayers at the sun's decline until the darkness of the night. Then and then the morning prayer and reading in the morning carry their own testimony. You don't have to do anything. Because when that happens in the morning, the angels are there to bear witness, and they carry that with them all day until the next Fajr. And you repeat it over and over again, and those angels keep going back to Allah and saying to Allah, You was up for Fajr again. And then you do that reading in the morning. That reading in the morning is going to help. That reading in the morning is a better reminder for you. Because it's not possible for you to read Quran and then get up and act like a monkey. That's not possible. If you're telling me that's what happened, then I'm telling you now, there is something wrong with you. There's something wrong with your mentality. And I agree, there's something wrong with your heart. It's got to be. It's not possible for you to read that book and take it in and then get up and start just acting outside of yourself, outside of the nature in which Allah has created us. So establish regular prayer at the sun's decline until the darkness of the night and the morning prayer, and reading in the morning carry their own testimony. And pray in the small watches of the morning as an additional prayer for you, that your Lord will raise you to a station of praise and glory. Say, O my Lord, let my entry be by the gate of truth and honor, and likewise my exit by the gate of truth and honor. And grant me from your presence an authority to aid me. And say, truth has arrived, and falsehood perished, for falsehood by its nature is bound to perish. We send down stage by stage in the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. To the unjust, it causes nothing but loss after loss. Yet, when we bestow our favors on man, he turns his back and drifts off to one side instead of coming to us. And when evil seizes him, he gives himself up to despair. Say, everyone acts according to his own disposition, but your Lord knows best who it is that is best guided on the way. So the question we need to be asking ourselves is what is your own disposition? What is your shakilah? That's your disposition. How you act. Not only how you may see yourself, but also how people see you. You know, there's a game that children play. Sometimes adults do it as well. When we're in a room like this, and we'll get in a circle, and I'll tell one person something, and they'll turn to the next person and tell them something, next person. And by the time it gets to the end, the question is then asked of the last person, what did they tell you? And what that last person was told is not what the first person told the second person. Because by the time it gets around, it's changed. It's just all changed. So you don't know. You may think that people understand you, they appreciate you, but in the long run, you may find out that they really don't like your disposition. You may say something to them, but they hear something else. That's happened, I know that's happened to any number of you any number of times. Well, you just told me that is not what I said, but that's what they heard. So that what it means is, we as Muslims, we need to be careful not only in what we say and how we say it, but also who we say it to. Because the Christians have a saying, you know, about, throwing pearls to swine. You know, you giving up all this wisdom to someone that couldn't care less. And sometimes you do it because you know it's easy. And you think I don't know who you think you're fooling, because Allah knows. The one that you should have been offering dawah to, you were afraid to. You put that aside. And don't tell me it didn't happen, because it happened to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wanted to do dawah to a rich man. Well, why would you do dawah to a rich man? He got money. So someone who really wanted to learn to know the religion, not right now, not you. And Allah revealed an ayat in the Quran just on that. Because it was revealed, that also applies to us. This is not a book that you just read in order to become a hafiz. I mean, I would submit to you that if you knew the Quran backwards and forwards, it's of no earthly good to you if you don't put it into practice. What does it mean? Why have a Constitution of the United States of America if you're going to ignore it? If you're not going to put it into its proper context? Why read the Bible? Why read the Torah if you're not going to act on those things that God tells you, Christian, to do, you, Jew, to do? And the same applies to the Muslim. You're just reading for I don't even know for what. You're just going through the motions. And that's not how the religion is to be practiced, because that is not going to help your spiritual growth and development. I'm telling you right now. It's not. You can't fake this. You can't fool nobody. You're going to end up being the biggest loser. Abdullah bin Mas'ud reported that Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "Verily your creation is on this wise. The constituents of one of you are collected for 40 days in his mother's womb in the form of blood, after which it becomes a clot of blood. In another period of 40 days, then it becomes a lump of flesh, and 40 days later Allah sends his angels to it with instructions concerning 4 things. So the angel writes down his livelihood, his death, his deeds, and his fortune and misfortune. By him, besides whom there is no God, that one amongst you acts like the people deserving paradise, until between him and paradise there remains but the distance of a cubit. When suddenly the writing of destiny overcomes him, and he begins to act like the denizens of hell, and thus enters hell. And another one acts in the way of the denizens of hell, until there remains between him and hell a distance of a cubit, that the writing of destiny overcomes him, and then he begins to act like the people of paradise and enters paradise." It was narrated by Ali while we were in a funeral procession in Baki el-Garad. No, Garkad. Yeah, Baki el-Garkad. Allah's apostle came and sat down, and we sat around him. He had a small stick in his hand, and he bent his head and started scraping the ground with it. He then said, "There is none among you, and no created soul, but has his place written for him either in paradise or in the hellfire, and also has his happy or miserable fate in the after written for him." A man said, "O Allah's apostle, shall we depend upon what is written for us and give up doing good deeds? For whoever among us is destined to be fortunate in the after will join the fortunate people, and whoever amongst us is destined to be miserable will do such deeds as are characteristic of the people who are destined to misery. The Prophet ﷺ said, those who are destined to be happy in the after will find it easy and pleasant to do the deeds characteristic of those destined to happiness, while those who are to be among the miserable in the after will find it easy to do the deeds characteristic of those destined to misery. Then he recited, as for him who gives in charity and keeps his duty to Allah and believes in the best reward from Allah, we will make smooth for him the path of ease. But he who is greedy, for him who is a greedy miser and thinks himself self-sufficient and gives the lie to the best reward from Allah, we will make smooth for him the path for evil. Let's pray for forgiveness. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, pardon. Allah says in the Quran, your Lord knows best what is in your hearts. If you do deeds of righteousness, for sure he is most forgiving to those who turn to him again and again, and render to the kindred their due rights as to those in want and the wayfarer. But don't squander your wealth in the manner of a spendthrift. For sure, spendthrifts are brothers of the evil ones, and the evil one is to his Lord ungrateful. And even if you have to turn away from them in pursuit of the mercy from your Lord, which you expect, speak to them a word of easy kindness. Don't make your hand tied like a miser's to your neck, nor stretch it forward to its furthest reach, so that you become blameworthy and destitute. Allah says one day every soul will come up struggling for itself, and every soul will be fully recompensed for all its actions, and none will be unjustly dealt with. Sadaqallah Azim. Allah the Mightiest speaks the truth. Do you see the one who turns back, gives a little, then hardens his heart? What? Has he knowledge of the unseen so that he can see? Nay, isn't he acquainted with what is in the books of Moses and of Ibrahim, who fulfilled his engagements? Namely, that no bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another, that man can have nothing but what he strives for, that the fruit of his striving will soon come in sight. Then will he be rewarded with a reward complete, that to your Lord is the final goal. So here's what I'm going to say to us, because we don't have but a few more minutes. Success is really not what you can show materially. It's really only a byproduct of wealth. You can have seemingly everything, fame and fortune and money, but then not have any sort of spiritual growth and development. It's absent from you. Because when you get these things, when you become this star, you deem yourself self-sufficient. You can't imagine where this came from, so the only place you can, your little mind tells you, is it was something that you did. That somehow you're better than everyone else. That you're smarter than everyone else. You don't even bother mentioning the fact that it's God who has blessed you. That's an afterthought. You see it all the time. People get all of these high accolades. Now, I'm not able to give you every single solitary example because I know this world well enough to know that by the time it gets to you and I, there are some people that when these awards come to them, they will thank God first. They will humble themselves to the prize of the award that they just got. But you'll never hear it. Because they control what you get and what you don't get. We don't want to promote that. So let's just start the tape 15 seconds in. Instead of starting it from the very beginning where you thank God and thank your mother and your father, and did all the right things. But no, we don't want to promote that. Let's get to the other part where he starts talking like he usually talks. Now, because that's what you heard, all that's taken out of context. And so we have an opportunity here at New Africa to lay the beginnings of a foundation that many of us are not going to be able to witness the results of. But what I do know is that, and this is from Quran. This is not me talking. This is Quran. Allah says in Quran, and you've heard this, فَإِلَمَا يُسْرِ يُسْرًا. After difficulty comes relief. After difficulty comes relief. But then it says, so when you are free from your immediate task, still labor hard, and to your Lord turn all of your attention. Now, in order for there to be difficulty, in order for you to be able to get some relief, you got to do something. You're not going to get relief if you're not doing anything. That just, it just doesn't follow. If you do what Imam W.D. Muhammad said, you follow the logic to its logical conclusion. When God says in the Quran, after difficulty comes relief, then that ought to automatically say to you, I better go out and find some difficulty. I better go out and struggle and strive. And what struggling and striving means, it always means, what do they say? Every journey begins with the first step. Well, let's take the first step. We've been languishing with this New Africa thing for too long. We got to take that first step. We've been babies for too long. We've had stuff given to us. And that made us complacent. Made me complacent. Yeah, why change something? Fine, going up the good old road reconnects me with Southeast. I can get back there. We got a, beautiful masala, small, but beautiful, comfortable. Every now and then the air conditioner would go out, but hell, go to Hajj and then tell me about an air conditioner. But now we're here. It's not good enough. We're being enabled. First by the Imam in having a space at his building when he had to go out and look for nothing else. We didn't do anything else. Now we were on a path to do that. And of course, like any other good thing, sometimes, the fitna steps in. We got that out. Now we're still here. But I'm telling you, it's time for us to take that first step. So, having said that, this Sunday, 9:30 a.m., we're going to have our second meeting to discuss how the new Africa Islamic Community Center is going to move out of the masala that has been so graciously provided to us by Masjid Muhammad and America's Islamic Heritage Museum. Imam Amir Muhammad. Now, this situation may be fine for many of you here. It doesn't work for me. And I'm going to do everything that I can to do what Allah tells me to do, which is to move out heavily equipped or lightly equipped. I want to have an opportunity for us to be able to show the world how a small group of Muslims can work together. And I'm reading stuff to you that I want to remind you, when we make this move, we're not going to stretch ourselves out too far, and we're not going to hold ourselves in too close. I just read that to you. I'm not concerned about what other people may think about what we're doing. That's none of their business. But our business is to at least make an effort to strive and struggle, have some difficulty, so that we'll be able to enjoy the ease. Well, why do you want to enjoy the ease? Are you crazy, man? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. And then to know that when we get through, you turn back to God. Because he got something else for you to do. It ain't over. You're not done. That's part of our problem now as individuals and as a group. We become too satisfied and complacent with what we got and think, man, this is it. Muslims don't retire. You get older, but you don't retire. You don't stop doing the things that Allah has placed you on the earth to do until God calls and says, all your provisions are up. Talib-Din, I got nothing else for you. and when that happens, going back to my Lord. Pleased and well pleasing. Everything you need to know is in that Quran. I know everything I need to know is there, and I'm only trying to communicate that to you to inspire us to do something. Even if we don't accomplish the goal that we set out to do, we would have tried to do something. And I can guarantee you, from whatever that is, you're going to learn. Because remember, Allah says in Quran, after difficulty comes relief. Then what does he say after that? After difficulty comes relief. Which tells me that we may struggle and have some accomplishment, but then we're going to have to struggle again. What did Yogi Berra say? It ain't over till it's over. There's some wisdom in that. That's another talk. But it ain't over till it's over. That's where we are right now. Allah wants us to seek the dunya. Tells you that. When we finish here, you ain't supposed to be just kind of lounging around, kicking back this Friday, I'm off today. No. You're supposed to go back out and seek what it is that God has for you. Now, if you ain't got nothing coming, it's because you ain't putting nothing in it. If you ain't got nothing to go seek, then it's because you haven't been out there setting your traps. You haven't been out there planting your seeds. There's no reason for you to go around and water anything. You ain't got nothing out there to water. And if you don't have those things, I'm encouraging you to go get them now. It ain't too late. Every day Allah wakes you up in the morning is your opportunity to get it right. Forget about yesterday. That's done. You forget about last week. You had a new Jummah now. Allah says you've been forgiven all your sins from the past Jummah. So don't even worry about that. Keep moving forward. Keep striving. Keep struggling. And one day that ease is going to come. Somebody's going to step up to you and say, you know, I've seen what you're trying to do. I don't know if this is going to help you or not, but such and such and such and such and so and so and so and so. But if people don't see you doing anything, why should they come to you with whatever they have? If you're not doing nothing. So, I've kept you long enough. I was 10 minutes late in starting. So I'm right on, as far as I'm concerned, I'm right on time. Because it's only been an hour. Now let me read this last hadith to you. This was narrated by Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu. Allah's apostle said, Adam and Moses argued with each other. Moses said to Adam, you are Adam, whose mistake expelled you from paradise. Adam said to him, you are Moses, whom Allah selected as his messenger and as the one to whom he spoke directly. Yet you blame me for a thing which had already been written in my fate before my creation. Allah's apostle said twice, so Adam overpowered Moses. So Adam confused Moses. Adam confused Moses. The prophet added, repeating the statement 3 times. Our Lord, they say, let not our hearts deviate now after you have guided us, and grant us mercy from your presence, for you are the grantor of bounties without measure. Our Lord, give us good in this world, good in the after, and defend us from the torment of the fire. Amen.
Where's the meeting going to be at?
Oh, the meeting is going to be here at the America's Islamic Heritage Museum, 9:30 a.m.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya al-salah, hayya al-falah. Qad qamat as-salah, qad qamat as-salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, allati yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min jannatil wannas. Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Just got one little announcement. One of our brothers, Brother Ibrahim, lost his father around June. Allah have mercy from the earth we began and back to the earth. So make dua for him, my brothers. You know, and his father blessed him, and he lived 90 years. So that's a blessing for an African American black man in America.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing.
And you brothers, forgive me, I'm only going to be able to give you fist bumps. Because I got a cold, man. I don't want none of y'all to get this. Yes, sir.
Well, you already infected us with your cook, my brother. So what more you gonna do, man?
And the white one, the white one underneath my hat. Oh, don't do that, man. Don't do that, because that's a disaster waiting now. Now, let me do this, man. I don't want
By you?
No.
Where?
I don't want nobody.
Right by your office.
Oh, that's